What is your nightmare coworker story? Story 1. The day she got fired, she texted the manager that she needed to come in late and leave early, and she wanted her old shift back. She'd been switched to a later time because she was constantly calling off or coming in late. Also, she needed a raise. We found out that she had been posting shoot about employees and the business on Facebook, where she was friends with half of the staff at aforementioned business. Pretty sure she was stealing too. Answer: it's so hard for me to understand why people think they can talk people, especially coworkers, on social media with no consequences. I worked with a college kid who made the rudest Facebook post about a couple of coworkers after they politely corrected his misconception about something in their field. This person also later went on to start a social media shitstorm of epic proportions that had to be remediated by university administrators. But that's another story. Story 2. I have a coworker who insists on talking to me like I have zero knowledge in my field, despite me actually having more experience and a higher job title than him. He also lectures people like he is their manager, even if they have been there longer than him. I even listened to him reprimand his own supervisor. He just gave me a lecture the other day on how to install a network printer. I've been in IT for 8 years now and in a hell of a lot more industries than he has. Answer: sort of similar coworker, except she has worked here for a year longer than me, but I'm a manager now. She's constantly lecturing me on how to do things like I'm a new hire. I've had to reprimand her before because she thinks she can get away with anything she wants because she has more experience than a manager. Your experience over me meant something when you were here for 2 years and I was here for 1, not when you've been here for 6 and I've been here for 5. Story 3. Currently working with a person who has had a sinus infection since November 2016. That's right. Wet, chunky coughs, 9 hours a day, 5 days a week, for going on 10 months. No, she does not leave the team area for coughing attacks. She just retches up whatever it is and gulps it back down. 10 months of that in a quiet office. Answer: fudge Christ, I had a woman like that. Cleared her throat every 3 minutes, hacked up a lung every 5, and wheezed with every breath. But it was just a cold. Sure. One that lasted from May 2011 to June 2014, the length of my employment there. I'm sure she still does it. I'd be in the lunchroom with her, and I'd need to blast my headphones, or I'd be ready to strangle her. And she was the same type of dipshit who wouldn't go to the doctor because they just take your money. Sure, some do. But if you've had a cold for 3 fudge years, go to the goddamn doctor. Story 4. I work in a dog grooming salon. My coworker, A, is a self-professed cat person. She doesn't like our customers. She doesn't like most dogs. She complains if she's booked dogs. She complains if she isn't booked dogs. She somehow never managed to commission, and complains about that too. She never helps clean, and when I close with her, she will disappear, because at 8:30 p.m., apparently, she has to take a 20-minute poop in the bathroom. She claims to be allergic to most foods, but still eats McDonald's and Burger King. She allegedly has celiac disease, but has never been tested. She also is allergic to cats, flowers, latex, almost anything. Despite claiming to be an avid gardener, the one time a coworker got flowers, she insisted they be removed from our work area because she was allergic. Same when another coworker received balloons. She has said on more than one occasion she likes to find out people's weaknesses and pick at them. One of my coworkers lives with her in-laws, as both of them have student debt they are very close to paying off. I will constantly add small digs at her like, not that you would know, it's not like you have to pay rent or a mortgage like real adults. Everyone complains about her, but our one manager has worked with her since the beginning and clearly doesn't feel comfortable talking to her, and our other manager is BFFs with her husband. She is good at her job and even deals with difficult dogs well. She just has such a shoot personality and is so negative about everything. Story 5. TLDR, martyrs, manipulation, physical aggression, and favoritism at your friendly local Starbucks. I worked at a Starbucks. After 1.5 years of solid barista work, I got promoted to shift supervisor, so I had to move to a different store. I arrived on my first day there, just orientation to introduce me to everyone and take a couple online trainings. I reached out my hand to meet Maggie. The manager informed me that Maggie was their best barista and owned the morning rush. Maggie grunted at me and didn't shake my hand. Okay, maybe she had a rough day. A couple days later, she refuses to make eye contact with me. This job requires good and constant communication, but Maggie refused to talk to me, causing several orders to get messed up or unfilled. After her shift was over, I took her aside and apologized. She screamed, "Oh!" and stormed out the door, raging. I asked a coworker what Maggie's deal was. I learned the backstory that the manager thinks of her as a daughter, has strong favoritism towards Maggie, assumes Maggie is the only person who can handle any task, but had refused to promote her to shift supervisor. She had been gunning for the vacant position. Then I got it. So she resented me. I had some empathy for Maggie at this point. A year of working with her, the empathy vanished. Sure, Maggie got a lot thrown at her, but she refused to perform her tasks well. She didn't show up for shifts if the weather was bad. Oh, also this owning the morning shift thing. She constantly screamed at customers or was very curt with them, then would insist that they like being talked to that way. They know I'm kidding. On more than one occasion, a customer would come over to me and say how nice it was when Maggie wasn't there because no one was yelling. She'd deliberately do things poorly, then turn around and say she was the only person who could do them. It became clear that it was Maggie herself who had demanded all these extra tasks. This all came to a head one day. As her supervisor, I was explaining that I really value good communication and needed her to vocally confirm drink orders. I have the exact same expectations for all other staff and for myself. She had about 5 inches and 30 pounds on me. She lunged herself at me, red-faced, screaming that she was going to hurt me if I don't stop getting in her face. When I told the boss, she said that Maggie was the best barista in the store. She owns the morning shift, and I just need to listen to her. I said, so I'm her supervisor, but I am supposed to take orders from her? Boss says it's just easier that way. Side note, worst boss I ever had. A different post altogether, though. I consulted with my old boss back before the promotion, who said I should objectively document every incident I have with her, keep emotions out of it, and share the journal with my manager and district manager. So I did that. I explained to my boss that I have journals explaining everything that happened. She said, okay, we obviously need to discuss this. Come in tomorrow at X time and we will hear you out. I show up and Maggie walks out, looking very smug. I go in and start sharing my part with the store and district managers. They stop me and say that they aren't interested in hearing it. They've heard enough and trust Maggie's side of the story. I went home and applied to grad school programs. In a terrifying turn of events, Maggie is now a cop. Answer, Christ. That sounds like a thing you would have had to call PCC about, anonymous or no. Or hell, since the DM was preventing you from doing shoot, I would have gone farther up the chain of command and gotten on the regional manager's case about the DM playing favorites. If your SM loved Maggie so much, why didn't she promote her? I mean, I understand being a little salty when you see the SM give a position to someone else. But shoot, you don't take it out on everyone else by doing a shoot job. That just makes it clear that you're a petty jerk who was a poor fit for the position to begin with. I mean, I've seen my SM hire people directly to shift to replace the ones jumping ship, even while she knew I was chomping at the bit to move on to my next role. Pissed me off, but I didn't take it out on them. It's not their fault she was a cunt who was gunning for a complete turnover. The store was already hemorrhaging all its partners, so I just transferred away to somewhere that'll give me a better shot, and I made darn sure to give 100 until the day I officially changed over. Story 6. His name is Tyler. I used to work at a convenience store that used to solely be open between the hours 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. At this point in my life, I had been there for about 6 years. Well, they hired Tyler because he's the son of one of the regular customers. They place him on my shift, and it was easily the worst shift I ever had. Normally, I work 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., but that day I had to stay till 5 p.m. because I was so behind on the things I needed to do. On this day, our order was larger than normal because our 2 ordering bosses were away on vacation the past week, so it was 2 weeks' worth of items being delivered. He had been there for about 3 weeks at this point. Most training is about a week long before you are being placed on regular shifts, but not for Tyler. Here is a list of the reasons I was behind on my work. Every other customer I had to stop the transaction and fix the mistakes he was making, scanning items 3 to 4 times without noticing. Each time I walked him through how to delete an item off the list so he could do it himself if he messed up. I would walk away to start putting order items on the shelves and look up 2 minutes later to see a line of 6 people at the register. Took 45 minutes to change 6 trash cans, all of which were in a 10F by 4FT square of each other. I sat there at the register, watching him watch the same 6 commercials that were on the TV. Constantly had to cancel orders because he forgot to place the total they paid him and didn't understand how to give people change without seeing the change total on the screen. His way to fix this was re-ring all the items again and put the change in the second time. I explained each time how to count change without it and explained that you can't just re-ring items because it throws off totals in the system. Had to talk to several of those customers because Tyler ended up cursing in front of them. Had to talk to several customers because Tyler had given them raw food instead of the cooked food. We had a system, cooked food is in front of the sign, raw behind it. He constantly grabbed the food behind the sign, all of which put me 2 hours behind on my work. My boss ended up having to drop what he was doing and help me when Tyler left at 3 and our 2 replacements came in. Edit, he was there another week. He told the boss last minute he was going on a 3-week-long vacation, and our boss just told him to not come back to the store. Answer: well, they hired Tyler because he is the son of one of the regular customers. I get doing this shoot when you have a whale buying a new car for a different family member every few months, or using you on every new building they put up. But someone buys a fudge hot dog and Slurpee every day for a year, and they feel like they need to kiss his jerk. Crazy. Story 7. Currently still a nightmare, CC's the entire office, including multiple owners of the company, when she corrects something I've done. My office is about 10 FT from hers. Every time she does it, I just think, why can't you walk 10F and come tell me or address the issue with me? Usually it's something small or extremely irrelevant, but now I just correct her or show her that it's not wrong at all and press reply all so they can see it. Story 8. A little off topic, but I noticed with these threads, it is always office workers that write in them. I have worked mostly in mining and the oil industry my whole life, so I am not familiar with office work. Is it just easier to tell people off and speak your mind in industry work? Answer: it's much easier to hide incompetence in a white-collar environment. When several dozen people participate in a project, it can be hard to accurately pin blame on the nitwit. When someone at a meatpacking plant screws up, it's obvious to everyone who did it. They might still skate for various reasons, but everyone knows exactly who the screw-up is. Story 9. Here's a story of 4 people being fired in one day for different reasons, a 5th unknown stealing money, and my 17-year-old self wondering how did I get myself here. Worked at a family-owned fast food Italian place. Nice job, easy work, free food, decent hours, not bad for 17-year-old high schooler. I checked the schedule for who I'm working with tomorrow, and it's manager A and coworker A that then switch shifts. I was across 2 shifts after lunch and closing with manager B and coworker B. They're all decent, I suppose, though one blatantly did hour fraud, came in at 8:30, entered time as 8. Shift goes to switch, and the B's and A's brief each other on what's happening. Owner and manager C, who's the best one, no illegal stuff, come in and tell them all to pack up and leave. Turns, the A's were in a relationship and were stealing money to fuel her pill addiction. The B's were caught fudge in the office, manager was married, plus B's hour fraud and were also fired. This all happens as I'm cleaning a table, bewildered. Thinking his stealing issues were over, owner leaves and manager C calls employees to fill in for tomorrow's vacancies. Turns out someone else steals from the register. The next day, and we're all told to submit to a lie detector test. Manager C comes up to me and says, "Real funny talk. We're closing so you don't have to come in anymore." But what about the lie detector test? Even if you told me you did it, I wouldn't believe you. You're fine. That last part was nice. I didn't steal it, by the way. TLDR, second job ever, and I see 4 people get fired at once for different stuff. A 5th also stealing. Answer: I worked with someone who was stealing from the register. I found out when the boss left a note with everyone's name on it in the back. I talked with him about it when it was just him and I in the back. He told me he knew it wasn't me, but wanted me to keep an eye on my co-workers. His words stuck out to me. I know you're too proud to do that. It was a minimum wage entry job, but I did take pride in my work. Story 10. Work in an office. Have a colleague who is literally the world's worst diabetic. I'm fairly certain she has Munchausen's. Her eyes are going, and she has problems with her feet. She makes a huge deal about making sure everyone sees her take her insulin, and then eats a whole giant bag of Haribo, 5 bags of crisps, and half a cake. I really wish I was exaggerating. It's ridiculous. We keep having to ring ambulances for her because she's eaten too much sugar. She's nearly eliminated herself at least twice as a result. Oh, and she's recently decided she's a super right-wing Christian. That our gay colleague is going to hell and shouldn't be living with his boyfriend, and that she is saving herself until her current partner and her get married, which they plan to do next year, even though they met in March. Worth noting, she has banged her way around one of the other departments and is divorced. She's a total fudge nut bar. Edit grammar because some people got super upset. I was in a rush. Answer: back when I worked in a supermarket, we had a guy in our meat department who was diabetic. At some point, the company's insurance decided they weren't going to give him enough insulin to survive, so he kept passing out. He'd go missing and we'd find him passed out in his car or hunched over a table. He'd also eat a shootload of junk food and then crash. Story 11. When I was the AGM of a really rinky-dink hotel, the owners had a disagreement about who would be the GM after the previous one rage quit. One owner hired a veteran with previous hospitality experience, an impressive resume, and really good business sense who was an absolute joy to be around. The other hired Mary Lou. They were both set loose in the hotel and basically told to fight over the position. Whoever proved the most capable wins. Veteran candidate thinks this is dumb, but hey, it's a job that pays better than his last one. He goes about his job like a normal human being. Mary Lou lost her goddamned mind and became some kind of hurricane of pure Jesus-fueled dislike. She was a small woman whose only experience was getting fired from a Christian bookstore and owning a florist shop for 11 years. She came in waving her credit card and professed that she was going to buy everything the hotel needed on her dime, and the owners were going to reimburse her. She'd be gone for hours and come back with things like cat litter and scarecrows and a mother fudge picnic table, and when we tried to explain that that was really stupid, she'd just start shrieking like a banshee. I wasn't allowed to do my job. She decided that I wasn't the AGM anymore, though that was what the owners treated me as. Owner would call and ask me to fix up reports she destroyed, such as claiming we had over 1 million rooms in the hotel, and she'd practically drag me away from my paperwork to scream at me about how the flowers she bought hadn't been properly watered. Why are you in the office doing the expenses when you should be the third person at a desk for a 60-room hotel on a day where the occupancy is projected below 10? Why isn't the front desk doing laundry now that I sent the laundry person home for no discernible reason? Why aren't you doing housekeeping's work? I'm the GM. I am the only manager. I will do the reports. And she would wreck the reports, and I would wait until she was gone and work overtime trying to fix them, because they were trusting these fudge reports with a woman who crashed a computer trying to minimize a window. This is a woman who wrote a manifesto about how she was going to pray extra angrily at her old boss and hope that Satan was driven out of him, and told one of our front desk folks that God told her to save her emails because we were out to get her. In the end, she wound up fired because she spent thousands of dollars on the hotel that was out of our budget, put the rest on her card, then sent a package of receipts to one owner demanding reimbursement. Also, we all threatened to walk out. When fired, she nearly ripped out her bangs, ripped a wreath off the wall, and told me and one of my employees that we'd get what was coming to us. She then harassed me via text with job listings because she wanted me to be prepared for when I got fired. Somehow, that woman managed to outdo the previous AGM who snapped his keys in half, and physically threatened me when he found out I was his successor, and a fill-in GM who lasted 3 days before revealing he was incredibly racist and sexist and being forced to leave. That hotel was a shoot show. Story 12. This lady in a different department has been here for 30 years and thinks the department I work in shouldn't exist. Thus, she makes it her life's mission to fudge up our work at every twist and turn. She has contact with many of our clients and will deliberately sabotage events we have planned for them. She refuses to do stuff that is part of her job description and forces us to do it. She gossips all the time, and I've discovered on numerous occasions that I'm either gay, a fascist, a liar, a womanizer, or just plain incompetent. For the record, I'm none of these things. The only reason she's still around is she's best friends with the boss, and so not only is her job protected, but crossing her means a call into the boss's office. She's a nightmare, and everyone but the boss wants her gone. Story 13. I had a co-worker lose his marbles, started texting me all sorts of weird stuff, and wanted to do some sort of takedown tragic end pact after he walked out in the middle of the day without saying a word. I was the only person on my team he did this to. Cops and corporate security teams got involved. My team was told to leave the building and work from home for a while. I still work from home. I guess it worked out pretty well for me in the long run. Story 14. Working in fast food, training a new guy. He got caught stealing drinks from the fridge, decided to defend himself by saying he saw me stealing cola and thought it was a job perk. It was well known in the store I dislike cola. Also, he used to skip certain procedures which could result in food poisoning. When I confronted him about it, he shoved me into a wall and threatened to punch me. Story 15. My bosses, which are all related to one another, being a family-owned business, have no clue about technology. The VP is the worst. They are all decent people, but he gets angry when technology does not work for him. In this case, he got upset that his tiny netbook with 4 GB of memory was slow. Upon inspection, he had 5 tabs open, along with various office apps and a music player. I found it very hard to explain that the little device just wasn't built for that kind of load. Answer: you have to explain it like they're a dumbass little less techie. RAM kitchen counter storage fridge processor. How fast they can cook. I always just explain that if you have a bunch of stuff on the counter, then it's going to make you work a lot slower, and sooner or later you won't be able to add more stuff to the counter until you remove other stuff. Edit. You're not a dumbass just because you don't understand computers. You'd be surprised at how many people don't. Story 16. I had a coworker who was employed in the role above me in the management chain. We both started the job on the same day, and it was a short-term contract, about 3 months. After a week, she realizes that she can't handle the job, keeps losing vital paperwork, telling clients wrong information, paying staff the wrong amounts. She's too proud to quit, but she has a goal.